I hope this applies to some of the cadets out there that are kind of figuring out, what they want to do. Don't get suckered or recruited into something that you're not passionate about branch wise. If you're not passionate about it, work's going to stink a little bit, right? You'll be surrounded by great people because it's the Army and we got some of the best people in the world in this organization. But if you're not passionate about it, things are going to slow down and be monotonous. So I'm passionate about field artillery. I'm passionate about leading soldiers. So maybe sometimes I work a little bit too much, but it doesn't feel like that, Chris. It almost feels like I'm doing what I love.
Welcome to the Branch Series. I'm your host, Christopher Hill. I started this series to help cadets and other aspiring Army officers choose their job, aka their Army branch. In this series, we will converse with other company-grade officers from various Army branches. They will share insights, personal experiences, successes, failures, their daily duties, and so much more.
The views expressed are those of the presenter and do not reflect the official policy or position of the United States Army, Department of Defense, or the U.S. government.
In this episode, we are highlighting the Field Artillery Branch, which I'll refer to a lot in this episode as FA. So today we have an opportunity to talk to First Lieutenant Zach Baxter. He's been actively serving as an FA officer since 2021. He is currently serving as a platoon leader. So if you are a cadet right now watching or listening, you certainly want to lean into this conversation. So without further ado, please help me welcome First Lieutenant Zach Baxter.
Hey, I'm happy we finally got this on the schedule. I'm ready to do this.
Absolutely. The long-awaited FA episode. Let's get right into it. So where'd you go to school and what is your commissioning source?
Yeah, so I went to school in upstate New York, Syracuse University. Did 4 years there as a 4-year scholarship cadet. So right out of high school, freshman year, started up ROTC, and went through my whole time as an ROTC cadet and up until senior year, and had a great time. Syracuse University I was blessed to go to that university. They treat cadets so well and have some pretty unique opportunities. And then I went to Bullock in September of 2021. And started FA Bullock in Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and kind of the rest is history.
So I'm guessing Triple C is next.
Triple C is next, yeah. Can you tell it's on my mind a little bit?
Yeah. How much longer do you have?
Just put in my preferences, so we'll figure out kind of next year at some point. I'll be heading back to Fort Sill or maybe to Quantico, Virginia. Also putting my hat in the ring for Marine Triple C. So we can probably talk about that later, but some cool opportunities on the horizon.
Wait, so you were at Syracuse while Sergeant Major Larson was there?
Yep. Yeah, the Army's a small world. So my Master Sergeant Larson at the time was our head NCO. I forgot what we called him, but basically the Sergeant Major, so to speak, of the RTC program there. And then fast forward a year and a half, and I was at 1-2 in the 2nd Cavalry Regiment, and he showed up as our battalion command sergeant major. So Army's a small world, that's for sure. Yeah. That's probably one of the biggest lessons I've learned so far.
Absolutely. And he's a great guy. Shout out to him. So what drew you to FA?
Yeah, it's a good question. Fall semester of senior year, you're getting bombarded with all the interviews, doing the tests and stuff like that, at least how our branching process worked during my year. And, and then you have your regular academics on top of that. So I knew I wanted to go combat arms. So it was going to either be field artillery, armor, or infantry. I knew that's where my kind of passion lied. Just wanted to lead soldiers, and I feel like those branches give you the best opportunity of that. But, doing those interviews and talking to people that are already out doing the thing, doing the job in the force, I got a lot of good conversations with previous cadets that were already lieutenants. And I kind of figured out that FA offers you something that infantry and armor can't, and that's the ability to stay, at that operational, at that smallest level possible. Whether it be a platoon or company-sized element, and lead soldiers. And that, at the end of the day, is what I want to do. That's where my passion lies, is I want to live, eat, fight, and train with soldiers. And I want to take advantage of as many opportunities as possible to do that. And FA offers you 3 jobs as a lieutenant, all at that level, that the other branches can't match, right? My infantry brother and sisters, one that you had on previously, Liam Garnuccio, right? He was an infantry platoon leader out of a maneuver battalion, and then transition to XO and then up to battalion staff, right? That he had that one opportunity, that one job. Some LTs in the infantry will get lucky and be able to do mortar PL or scout PL, right? But those are kind of few and far in between, and kind of timelines have to just add up correctly. A lot of variables. FA, on the other hand, I got fire support officer, I got platoon leader, and you got fire direction officer too. All jobs that are at that tactical level, where your one sole job, right, first and foremost, is to lead soldiers, and make sure that they're taken care of. So, FA offers you those three positions those three positions, you keep you at that level longer. So, I spent 2 years in fire support, leading an 8-man team, and then a battalion fire support officer leading a platoon of fisters, forward observers. Calling in mortars, artillery, rockets, and close air support and Army attack aviation. And then I just transitioned to be a platoon leader about 2 months back of a Mike 777 howitzer battery. So in charge of 3 guns and about 30 plus soldiers. And that's been awesome. I've been able to do this for now 2.5 years of just leading soldiers, and that's something that the field artillery is unique in its ability to offer to lieutenants.
That's incredible. So what does a typical day look like for you?
As a fire support officer, you're going to be in charge of, around an 8 to 10 person team. PT in the morning, like usual, right? And then you're doing your training. You're doing your training, and you're refining your skills and your craft. Because as you're in charge of 8 fisters, right? We'll use the term fisters a lot. Just stands for like the fire support team, but boils down to forward observers, right? The soldiers who actually go out and do the thing, right? You're in charge of them. You're building their schedules and their training schedules and training plans. But at the end of the day, they're the ones that are going out and doing the thing. And those forward observers are awesome, and they're a team that gets added on, attached to the infantry platoons, and they are the subject matter experts at that level, right? So training them is so important, right? They have to be subject matter experts because they're the only ones there that have that knowledge, and they have to be a value-added member of that team, right? I told my guys and gals I was in charge of as a company fire support officer, you have to be a value-added member of that team, right? You're outside, you're kind of that random guy walking in the office. Hey, who are you? Oh, you're the forward observer. All right, awesome. You're gonna be at that platoon leader's hip, right? So those guys need to be knowledgeable and need to be very precise and knowledgeable in their craft, because they're calling in some heat, right? So
don't forget to subscribe to this channel and interact with the community of leaders that we're building right here on this channel. All right, let's get right back to the video. Thank you so much for sharing your insight and your experience. So to be successful as an FA officer, what are some specific skills or qualities that you can think of that will help future FA officers?
Honestly, interpersonal attack and the ability to create relationships is probably one of the most important jobs as a field artillery officer, specifically as a fire support officer. I talk my current job as a platoon leader. I would just say you need to be the mental agility is probably another key thing for fire support 100%, but also for a platoon leader of a howitzer section, right? Our job description by doctrine at the end of the day, whether you're a fire support officer, a fire direction officer, or a platoon leader of a gun line, is to support the maneuver, right? Support the armor units or infantry units that are going out and seizing objectives. They can't move without us, right? We need to be able to provide that overwhelming firepower where and when they say so. So having that mental agility to be able to move out at a moment's notice or hop on training plans. The infantry company or battalion's moving out and doing a live fire exercise, and they're requesting, hey, we want some artillery rounds to either simulate battlefield effects or give their fisters some practice at calling in fires, live rounds, right? We as a gun line section need to have that mental agility to be like, all right, let's go. Let's drop everything. Let's figure out how we can support these guys and gals and get out to the field. And that's, in an operational fight, how we train, right, is, at a moment's notice, we can get called for an emergency fire mission. So you need to be able to have that kind of foresight and also the ability to adapt and react quickly to any change in mission. Because at the end of the day, we support the people that are out maneuvering, right? So moment's notice, our whole, we can be chilling in the trucks, and then moment's notice, we get a call for an emergency fire mission. We need to be ready to roll. So interpersonal attack and the ability to kind of be agile and adapt to situations are probably key fundamentals to have as a field artillery officer.
So I'm sure there are many challenges. I mean, from what it sounds like you can face challenges of many kind doing what you do. But can you talk about some of the most challenging aspects of your job?
Yeah, I'll go back to the lens of a fire support officer, right? When I was selected, I did a year as a company fire support officer at Apache Troop 1st Squadron 2nd Cavalry Regiment. And then I got selected by the battalion commander to, hey, stay on as the battalion fire support officer. So I transitioned to like a captain level position on battalion staff. And that showed me some of the challenges I wasn't privy to as just a company fire support officer. We again, I said it and I'll keep on saying it. Our job is to support the maneuver, right? So we have to be in line and nested within the training plans of the maneuver battalions that we are either attached to or ready to support at a moment's notice. But we also, our readiness and everything else and some of our actual job skills and our table progressions, our training plans for just fire support or artillery, runs through the field artillery battalion as well. So you kind of that's one of the more difficult parts of a field artillery officer, and that again is where the agility and adaptability comes in. Is you're not only working for a maneuver battalion, but you're also your home base at the end of the day is that field artillery battalion. So being able to talk to both commanders, whether it's at the company or battery level or the battalion level, so talking to the infantry battalion commander, and then also turn around and switching gears and talking to the field artillery battalion commander. That's probably one of the more difficult things that most infantry or army guys don't have to deal with, right? Or other branches, right? They're just kind of in their stovepipe, not in a bad way, but they're focused on their skill and they just got to be good at it, right? Artillerymen and women have to be, playing both sides, selling artillery to the infantry and armor, and then also turn around and talking artillery to other artillerymen and women. So it's one of the, I would describe it maybe as a difficulty, but also something so unique and so good at kind of teaching you some skills that most people won't be able to have the chance or opportunity to learn. So difficulty, yes, but also an opportunity if you look at it from another way.
So you're towards the tail end of your time as a lieutenant. And that's the whole goal of this series and why I wanted to start it, is to bring on senior lieutenants to be able to talk and relate to cadets in the different positions that you can hold in your respective branch. So can you share any memorable experiences that you had as a lieutenant?
Yeah, 100%. So 2021 September, I go down to Fort Sill, Oklahoma for basic officer leaders course, Bullock. Pretty nervous because FA has a pretty significant bullet class because there's just so much knowledge. Again, you have 3 different jobs to learn: platoon leader, fire direction, which is gunnery and figuring out how the cannon and actually the mathematics behind how we get around where we want it to get. And then for fire support, right, learning enemy vehicles and learning different how to call for different missions, different munitions, and things like that and their effects. So Bullock I was kind of nervous for. I'm not a math guy; I was a political science major. But there's a great team of instructors down there, and you have some great peers with you that if you work together, you can kind of get through. But I'd say the first memorable experience, Chris, would be I graduated in February of 2022, and if anyone's current on their current events of the past couple of years, 30 days after is 30 days to the day. 30 days after I stood on the stage in Snow Hall in Fort Sill, Oklahoma, I was like boots on ground, so to speak, in Slovakia. I guess the lesson out of that is take Bullock seriously because you never know where you're going to find yourself, weeks or months after you graduate. Life comes at you fast, specifically in the Army, right? It's a pretty unique world out there right now with a lot of problem sets that can change at a moment's notice. So yeah, 30 days to the day, Chris. I was graduating Bullock in Fort Sill, Oklahoma. And then I was in the seat as a company fire support officer in Slovakia. And I just thank God for NCOs. That's the lesson right there, right? Thank God for NCOs. I fell in with the team with a really great NCO that kind of just showed me the way, and we got some good training over there.
Great point. Lean on your NCOs.
Yeah. 100%, man.
Thank you for bringing that up. Thank you for bringing that up. I mean, we can't say that enough.
Yeah, my father was an NCO, so that's been ingrained in me since like age 12, before I probably even know what an NCO was. But yeah, 100%.
Likewise, we have that in common. Yeah. That's pretty cool. So I don't know if you could do it all over again. Would you switch branches? Would you go a different route, or you like where you're at?
I love where I'm at. Field artillery is the best branch in the Army without a doubt, and I can say that as a statement of fact, right? The opportunities, unique opportunities in the jobs that they offer a lieutenant is just not matched by any other branch, right? I have 3 different jobs I can fall in on when I'm a field artillery second lieutenant, just coming into a unit. I can do fire direction, I can do platoon leader, I can do fire support, right? And you get a unique opportunity to experience other branches and live and work with them that an infantry officer might not get, right? So I get to play with the infantry for while I'm a fire support officer. Then I come back to artillery and I'm working with artillery men and women across the artillery battalion when I'm a platoon leader or a fire direction officer. So yeah, 200%, Chris. I'm a red leg for life. That's what they call us. And I'm very happy with my decision to be a field artilleryman.
Switching gears a little bit, let's talk about managing personal time. And again, I do all of my videos, all of my content during my off time. I just want to make that abundantly clear. I'm not like stealing company time, as the civilian world would call it. And so I feel really bad because you are in the office in uniform on your day off. So I think that it's fitting to talk about personal life. How do you manage work and personal time?
Yeah, it's Chris, that's an art. I don't think anyone's 100% great at it. And if there was a solution, I think everyone would have a perfect balance, right? So it's definitely an art, and it's definitely something I need to work on personally. But you just got to. It boils down to this, right? I'm a single lieutenant. I got some hobbies on the outside that I like to get after, and I'm in Germany, right? Stationed in Germany with the 2nd Cavalry Regiment. So traveling is one of my hobbies, right? Experiencing other cultures. So I have this whole continent to travel when I'm off, so I take advantage of that. But I think the other part of the work-life balance people don't talk about a lot, right? Is you need to be passionate about your job, right? You're always going to have to work. If you want to put food on the table and make money, you're going to have to work somewhere, some way, somehow. And if you're passionate about your job, right, it's just going to make that work so much easier. So being passionate about whatever path you choose in the Army, or if you're in the civilian sector, being passionate about your degree and basing that off of where you want to, go on and do your career in, is good. But I'll tell you right now, passion number one. And I hope this applies to some of the cadets out there that are kind of figuring out, what they want to do. Don't get suckered or recruited into something that you're not passionate about branch wise. If you're not passionate about it, work's going to stink a little bit, right? You'll be surrounded by great people because it's the Army and we got some of the best people in the world in this organization. But if you're not passionate about it, things are going to slow down and be monotonous. So I'm passionate about field artillery. I'm passionate about leading soldiers. So maybe sometimes I work a little bit too much, but it doesn't feel like that, Chris. It almost feels like I'm doing what I love and I can't get enough of it, right? Maybe sometimes a little too much, right? And my soldiers are like, hey, sir, like, let's go home. Tasks are complete. I'm like, all right, roger that. Or my NCOs, remind me of that. But that passion and being passionate about the path you choose in the Army is going to make that work-life balance a lot easier because your work's not going to seem so much like work, right? And then on the other end, right, your time off is your time off. And that's something I had to kind of get used to. When I was serving as a battalion fire support officer, I found myself at work, past 1700 quite often. It took a couple of my friends to be like, hey, man, like, or some of my mentors, like, hey, can this wait till tomorrow? Does this need to be action today? And most of the time that answer is no. It can wait till tomorrow, right? So going home and spending some time. I live in a beautiful little walled-in cobblestone city, a German city, and being able to go to that place and go to my apartment and just hang out, and then on the weekends travel around. Right, I was in the UK last weekend, and then moving forward, I don't even know where I'm going next, but I know there's a plan out there somewhere, right? Or I can just hop in my car and go over to Czech Republic or down to Austria. It's a unique opportunity. So I'd say work-life balance, Chris, to boil it all down, be passionate about your job because that's going to make work a lot easier. Surround yourself with some good friends that can kind of remind you, hey, man, you might be working a little too much, or listen to your NCOs again, right? The NCOs pop back in. They'll keep you humble about, hey, sir, this doesn't need to be happen. This doesn't need to happen today. Let's reaction this tomorrow and come at it with a fresh set of eyes and get it done. So definitely an art though, Chris. I'm sure you experience that a lot, right?
Yeah, well said. And I'm going to take your advice. Let's get out of here. As we land this plane, what's next for you?
Yeah, well, near term, like 50-meter target is next week. I just want to shout out my soldiers of Archer Battery 1st Platoon. They competed and won the internal Field Artillery Battalion of the 2nd Cavalry Regiment's Best of the Best competition about a month and a half ago. So we are representing the Army, or representing the 2nd Cavalry Regiment in the Army's first ever, the Fire Center of Excellence down in Fort Sill. Their first ever inaugural best red light competition, right? So you have the best ranger, best sapper, best sniper. The armor's got like the Gainey Cup, I believe it's called, or whatever the armor does. But they have something that kind of competes everyone against, to figure out who's the best in the Army. The red light community down at Fort Sill is doing that for the first time this year, and we're going to go down and represent the 2nd Cavalry Regiment for the platoon, for the gun line, the howitzer section, but also our fire direction cell here in the 1st Platoon won it as well for the fire direction. So I got not only my gun line going down, but as a platoon leader, you're kind of, you have a FDC attached to you, and they're going down. They won best of the best in our battalion as well. So I got FDC and gun line going down to Fort Sill to compete. And I was blessed enough to be able to travel with them. Can't compete because the lieutenant's job is not on the actual howitzer itself, as sad as that may sound. But I'm gonna be able to go down there and do Chick-fil-A runs or whatever I can do to get those guys across the finish line. But we entered in a pretty significant train up for the past month and a half, Chris, and really excited to see let these soldiers have the opportunity to showcase how truly awesome they are at their job. So that's the 50-meter target right there, Chris. So I think we leave next Friday. Spend about 2 weeks in Fort Sill, Oklahoma, back to Mama Sill, as we call it in the artillery world. And then after that, Chris, probably 150-meter target is my triple C, right? As a senior lieutenant, starting to enter in that marketplace of figuring out where I want to do or where I want to go for as a captain. So submitting for right now, it's called the Marine Expeditionary Warfare School. FA gets 2 slots this year. And basically, that's Marine Triple C. So instead of 6 months at Fort Sill, Oklahoma, learn how to be a captain and learning the processes that you use as a battalion battalion staff officer and as a commander, I would instead go to Quantico, Virginia, for 11 months. It's pretty awesome, and work with the Marines and learn their doctrine a little bit, but also doctrine shared across the force sometimes if it's joint. So work out of that joint skill out of Quantico, Virginia for 11 months. That's what I'm putting my hat in the ring. We only get 2 slots, so we'll see if that happens. But that's kind of where my eyes are on right now. But I'll probably be a platoon leader up until maybe late winter, early spring of next year. Then start transitioning to become a captain and getting ready for that.
Well, Zach, thank you so much for joining me. I believe that this was a well done conversation that is hopefully useful to the audience out there. I certainly learned a lot. I enjoyed every bit of this conversation. Leaders, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe to get more content just like this. The point of this branching series is to help you make a wiser decision, a more informed decision. So if you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out to me at @therealc_Hill. I'm highly responsive on Instagram, right here on YouTube, of course. And if you have any specific questions that you would like me to direct to Zach, just let me know. Send me a direct message and I'll reach out to Zach. But thank you all so much, leaders. As always, keep leading, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks, Zach. You're the best, man.
Chris, appreciate you, brother. Thank you. It was a great time.